think, the interesting thing is sometimes other people hear your voice before you do. I remember, I remember a French friend I had at university, and in his very intense French way, he once stopped me one day and said, when you say certain things, I stop and other people stop too. You say certain things and I feel like a door is opened for me. Well, I'd never really understood that about my voice or the way I said things, until that good friend tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, that really affected me." So sometimes you you understand where your own voice is by the way it actually has an effect on others. Where is the invitation most effective in your life? Then the other closer in way is just the way it's seated in your own body. Is it resting on a proper physical edge inside your body, or does it have a foundation inside you? The interesting thing about that inner foundation is it gets deeper and deeper as the years. So the beginning, where you feel the foundation is not, when I think about the foundation upon which my voice rested 25 years ago, it was much further up in my body, I would say, to use that metaphor, than it is now. And it was less down, less grounded, yeah. But the way, just to start to apprentice yourself to the way your voice feels in your own body. And then the voice should be an edge too. It should be an invitation. And it should be an invitation to vulnerability. If there's no vulnerability in your voice, then there's almost no invitation. And I'm not talking about weakness now. I have a poem, I'm not sure I can remember it, but it's called "The Soul Lives Contented by Listening." But if it wants to change into the beauty of terrifying shapes, it tries to speak. The soul lives contented by listening. But if it wants to change into the beauty of terrifying shapes, it tries to speak. That's why you will not sing, afraid as you are of who might join with you. Her voice hesitant and her hand trembling in the dark for yours. She touches your face and says your name in the same instant, the one you refuse to say, the one you refuse to say, over and over again, the one you refused to say. The soul lives contented by listening, but if it wants to change into the beauty of terrifying shapes, it tries to speak. If it wants to change into the beauty of terrifying shapes, it tries to speak. That's why you will not sing. That's why you will not sing. Afraid as you are of who might join with you. Her voice hesitant and her hand trembling in the dark for yours. She touches your face. She touches your face and says your name in the same instant. The one you refused to say. The one you refused to say, over and over again, the one you refused to say. I wrote that poem as part of a cycle of poems that went under the title of Fire in the Earth in the end. And that particular cycle of poems was called Fire in the Voice within Fire in the Earth. And I was exploring the fiery nature of the voice in the body, and actually the fiery nature of our own voice in other people's bodies too. And the voice is so intimate because it literally passes into the body of another person, and not only through the tympanum of the ears, but your voice actually travels through the bone structure of a person's face and their neck, and is transmitted. Our voice actually travels into the bowels of another person, which is why we very often there are certain voices we do not want to have within our bodies. Yeah. And we turn the screen off when we hear them. Certain voices, certain political voices we become allergic to, because they're so ungenerous, they're so violent, they're so besieging, they're so small in their attempt to be large. Yeah. But then there's the beautiful invitational voice that's calling you into something greater. And that's the voice we're trying to identify in others, in their recognition of us, and also in the very center of our own bodies.